So it's currently 2 a.m. It's nearly Christmas. I thought it'd be cool if I get a Christmas tree in the shop. I haven't done a Road to Victory in a while, so I thought I'd do another episode for you guys. This Friday is YCS Bologna. In preparation every single day, I'm going to do a little like mini YCS practice for myself. And what does that consist of? Well, I'm going to play 10 DB games in a row, and my goal is to win all 10 in a row. Now, why am I doing this? Because I don't know if you guys remember, but a while back in my other Road to Victory, I had a good player make a really good point, which is that one of the things you need in a YCS is to be able to consistently win like 9-10 games in a row. You're not going to top unless you go X1 or X2 basically. And so you need to be able to beat the average person super consistently, almost guaranteed. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to reliably top. And so I moved that into, okay, how can I practically prepare myself for that? Now, one thing about DB, and you'll see, because I'll do a quick match review and talk about Rescue Ace and the build and stuff. One thing you'll see is that on DB, the quality of players is not always going to be as high as a YCS. You're going to see some random jank decks. However, in general, that's probably the best option I have outside of going to regionals or something. So for today, I was 9-1. 9-1 in a row. I'll show you the records and everything. And yeah, let's get into the actual list. So guys, this is my games from today. As you can see, yeah, I had 9 wins in a row, then 1 loss. So what were the matchups? I had to play first 2 rounds. I don't know. We could actually see them now, but I'll go from. So let's see. What was the first round? Because I was half asleep in the first 2 rounds. I'll be honest. I think this guy was on Vanadium. From looking at the name, oh no, he was on Vanquish Soul. So this guy was on Vanquish Soul. He pretty much scooped and he lost. And then the next guy I was against, let's see what this guy was playing. I don't remember either. This guy was on Dragons. Okay, so the first 2 games, Dragons and Vanadium. Third game, again against Dragons. Dragons is a pretty easy matchup, I think. I think that the only thing you sometimes have to worry about is like they might win dice roll and have hand traps as well, but a lot of the times they end on Seals Pass, so I do things like I'll hold Imperm. I won't even use Imperm because I'm not that scared of their board. Branded Beast doesn't mean anything to me if I have Emergency, so if I have Emergency and I have Imperm, I won't even hand trap them on their turn. If they end on Borrowland, that's getting Impermed. So 2-0 for both the Dragons. Round 4 I was against Labyrinth. Labyrinth is a bit of a difficult matchup, but you have a couple of different win cons against them. I play Super Poly, Impulse, Reinforce, Ash. I have talents. I have so many win cons that I would say Labyrinth is easy for me, unless I like really hard break. Like most of the skill in the Labyrinth matchup I've removed, so it's like I don't have to worry about having to outplay them. I'm just going to draw better. So I drew Impulse, Super Poly, both game 1 and game 2, out his board and killed him. Round 5 was against Tia. Tia can be a hard matchup, but one of the things I like about Tia is that they can't deal with targeting blockers as well, like Mud Dragon. So it's similar to Rescue Ace. And so essentially I made Mud Dragon and it was just impossible for him to do anything. The game 1 I made my board, he couldn't beat it. Game 2 I made Mud Dragon mid-game and he couldn't out it because he had milled all of his Super Polys, milled all of his talents, used his Shuffler, no way to out it. Round 6, it was some jank rank 8 spam deck, I don't know. Round 7 was against Heroes. In this, I opened loads of hand traps, so I was just lucky and I beat him. Round 8 was Vanquish Soul. Vanquish Soul is another matchup which I was having a bit of trouble with. I played them just yesterday actually, and I got battered. I think I played them twice and got battered both times. And I started to analyse what was hard about the Vanquish Soul matchup, and I found that the Vanquish Soul matchup is actually really easy if you understand how the cards work. Firstly, they can't move cards outside of the main phase. Like outside of the main phase, they can't do their balancing. So if you want to pop something or interact with something, do it then. The next thing is that Vanquish Soul is a deck that really can't handle SP Little Knight and Fenrir. Now this is really good because they usually play for Fenrir and SP Little Knight's easy to make. So I made SP Little Knight in both games. Whenever he had a little body on board and would chain his effect to, so chain the effect of Borg or whatever in hand to summon it, chain SP and target that, and now I've burnt an effect in his hand, which is useful. And also Fenrir, I would steal his Fenrir with my rescue, so that whenever he tried to summon a monster, I always had Fenrir to immediately check it, which was great as well. So I managed to win against him. Round 9 I played Weather. Weather is not the most fun matchup. It's quite frustrating, but managed to squeeze out a win. I don't think it's a hard matchup, it's just frustrating. and then the last round was against Labyrinth, which I just didn't play well. I might actually upload that. I did a discussion video, which will be uploaded sometime this week, and you guys can see how that Labyrinth game went and why I didn't win. But this is probably, I'd say, one of the best lists that you guys should run with for now. So what are some reasons for some decisions? Astral Imperm as the hand traps. Astral Imperm are just mandatory, you have to play them, unfortunately. I don't actually like Imperm right now, but you have to play it because it's the best hand trap. Why don't I like it? I don't like it because it's very low impact. Imperm is unlikely to ever win you the game on its own, and in a deck like this, which is a jack of all trades, master of none, you really need kind of powerful bombs to win you the game sometimes. Imperm is not that. But you still have to play it because there's no card that really does this job. Ash checks all of your matchups that you're weak to. Branded, Labyrinth, like this card is good against them, so you need to play it. Droll is just unfair. I think the problem with is that if you come up against a deck that loses to Droll and you don't have Droll, it's just tiring. You'll lose for free. Manadium, Infernoble, even sometimes Rescue Ace. If you don't have Droll, you're just allowing them to plus infinite, and any hand trap you throw at them will be useless, so you just need to play it. It also helps to check talents and thrust, and I'd say it's the other kind of version of Nib. Nib is best when you're going first and you've established a board, and I think Droll's also best when you go first and have established a board. Sometimes I will dig through my deck, like I'll combo and intentionally not do terahertz or whatever, and dig through my deck just because I want Droll, because I know that I beat them if I just end on set 4 plus Droll. Droplets. I really like Droplets because it allows you to check the Unchained and Purdy matchup really, really well, and other matchups. There's a lot of targeting in the format right now, and Droplets just lets you punish it really, really hard. So against Unchained, that's always going to be getting rid of the Caesar, which makes it very easy to play against the deck. And sometimes you'll have an Unchained player do things like, so you'll like try and special, and you'll chain Droplets to negate, and then they'll chain their trap and pop Caesar, but it's like, okay, yes, you've negated my special summon, but you've just burnt through 2 interactions for my 1. I'm okay with that. So I really do like that card. I also think the nice thing about Droplets is that in this deck you do play a lot of traps, and so, well, not a lot, you play 6 traps, and so it does come up a lot. I think Droplets has the ability to negate traps often in this deck, more than other decks. Then if we look into the extra deck, I still got Terahertz package. I think Terahertz package is good. I've been exploring Super Poly, I've been exploring Baroque Baron. I've come to the conclusion that I don't think any of the packages are really that different. It's really just a case of how you want to play and what you're more afraid of. If consistency is your main thing, Terahertz is superior to everything else. If you are worried about consistency, play Terahertz. That's the blank answer. If you are worried about getting blown out by spells and traps and back rows and whatever, you do need to play one of the negate packages. Baron has the advantage of being a better card in itself because it's just a blanket Omni negate, and so it's good against other things, and also adding an extra impulse to your hand, which the other build can't really do. You also have some unique utility in Ricardetto and Durandal, so they're bricks, but you have some utility there. The Terahertz package has the advantage of checking the Pearly matchup very, very effectively, because both my friend and Fieldspell get really hard checked by Meteorologic Aggregator. So this applies to Pearly, but this applies to some other matchups as well. This is also things like TR, it checks the Fieldspell quite nicely so they can't get pops off it. In the Rescue Mirror, it's not too bad as well. Once they summon Turbulence, you can use this, little things like that. So that's where I'd say Terahertz is really good. Another slight thing about Terahertz is that it gives you another easy route into access code. At any point, you can use Hydrant to get a 6300 access code with 1 bounce and 1 pop using the Terahertz package. You can't do that in other builds, which I really, really like, because it means this build is not reliant on Selene. Like, Selene is a card that I actually wouldn't play here. I'd play Dark instead. I don't know why it's still there, but I'd play Dark instead of Selene, because you never go into Selene in this package. You always will be using your Terahertz line to OTK. Then when we look at the side deck, I'm not going to wrap this up because I don't want this video to be too long. D-Barrier, FTK stuff. You can play anti-spell, but lingering floodgates are better because they are going to side in back row removal for you. They are going to have evenly against you. They are going to have twin twisters or whatever. Like, they're going to side that in, so you'd rather have a card that just happens and they can't do anything about it. Duster and Cyclone are good. You especially need them right now because of Centurion. Like, you don't want to get FTK'd by a random tier 2 deck. Centurion will FTK you games 2 and 3 if you don't have this. Cowboy, because unfortunately some people are slow players, so you do need it. Retaliating Sea, I've gone back and forth on this card. One of the things I really like about it though is that it FTKs Drytron, it FTKs Pearly. It's really good into Chimera and Branded. It's okay in some random rogue decks like Heroes. It's okay into It's kind of okay into Makanko. It's not amazing. It's kind of okay. And I think the thing about Retaliating Sea is that it's like XYZ Encore. I think that's probably be my biggest comparison. It checks a bunch of matchups and more. It checks all the matchups pretty much that XYZ Encore checks, plus a couple more. And I'd just rather play this than Shifter or something. Like, this is less of a brick than Shifter. I also like the fact that it's level 4, because if you're playing Dweller or Cowboy or whatever, yeah, it gives you another route into that. Then I chose to play one Impulse and one Attacker in the side deck here. I'm testing it out. I don't think that Impulse on the side is needed, but I do like Attacker, and I think that if you're playing more hand traps, Attacker is better. Basically, if you play more than, I would say, about 11 hand traps, this is where Attacker becomes useful. I remember when I used to play Math Mech, the ratio for Heat Soul was something like 14 hand traps. Someone can correct me in the comments, but it's like if you played like 14 or more or something, or I don't know if it was 12 or more, then Heat Soul was good. If not, don't run Heat Soul. And a similar fight attack, I'd say after about 11 hand traps, because you're drawing 2 and discarding 1 and you're thinning your deck, this card becomes really, really high value. And then 2 Nib. So yeah, the last Impulse will probably be swapped for Nib, because Nib is just unfair going first. But yeah, guys, this is my current Risk Ace build. So this is, like I said, day 1. This is the 10-0 build for Road to Victory. I do think that I might change this build a bit as the day goes on. I don't know if I'll do a different build every single day, but I will keep you guys updated with how the roads are going each day and how the DB grind is going each day. Let me know if you have any ideas about Rescue Ace as well. I will be sure to implement them. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.